9 a.m. No matter what. We were in a major conversation backstage, and then we hit, hey, you know what? It's time for choice with the ultimate choice pioneer, Rico Racosky.
Oh, hey, guys.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly. What? Y'all are in for a major treat today.
Oh, yes.
We have got Rico Racosky, author of Just Two Choices. It is your life. And dear friend, Rico, I got to show you guys this. So this is what comes with it. Just Two Choices. And for all of you listening instead of watching, and if you're not watching, I don't know why the hell you're not here live. But if you're not watching, that's Just Two Choices coin. So anytime you're sitting there, you say, okay, I can make a choice. I can either choose the, did you see that landed on the good one? And we got a little something to show you after this. And then either that right choice, wrong choice, good choice, bad choice. Do you want dessert? Do you not want dessert? Yeah. Everything we do comes down to just two choices. Rico, welcome, my friend. This is going to be a killer conversation.
Dr. Dan and DJ, starting my morning early, and I love it. This is exciting. High vibe to you.
Yes, high vibe. Yeah. I love that. Good morning, Lisa. Lisa's always number one to say good morning. She's got that. She's got that rank down pat. So
that's why all right, killing it out there.
Rico, for all of you that weren't involved in DJs in my full day stream on December 15th, which was so awesome. We actually have to do that again. It was just a really long time to sit at the computer, but we got to do that again. So Rico was part of that show. And actually, Rico, that whole show was designed around you. I don't know if I ever told you that, but we were trying, I don't know how many times you and I were looking at schedules, trying to get you on the show. And finally that day, and I said to DJ, when DJ and I was it DJ? Who was it that? Oh, it was Nigel that said, you guys should do like a full day thing. We're like, great idea. And Nigel, awesome. Nigel, if you're listening already this morning over in the UK, brother, amen to you. And, it was kind of like, okay, well, Rico's on this date and we ain't moving this shit anymore because it took way too long for him to get on. And you just blew everybody away with the monitor in a plane and like the choices you make based on the data you're given. And loved it. Hooked. I mean, Rico, I've been hooked for 12 years on your message and everything you've taught me. And I'm
both ways, Dan.
Honored. Oh, thank you, buddy. But you know what? You've changed my life in ways that I could probably never even explain to you. So I love you for that. And
thank you.
And so today, what I'd really like is for anyone that does not know about you, does not know about the origin of Just Two Choices and how simple it really is. Just start at the beginning for us and kind of work us through, if you can, in like 5 minutes, and then we'll dive into the book. For all of you that don't have this, get on Amazon and get it. We are talking full color pictures. Like if you are a visual learner, this book will be the ultimate life-changing manual for you. And before we got on, and I'll shut up after this, Rico's original version was so simple. And Rico, you've really kind of got my head spinning here because I'm about a day before I finish my last book to get back on this book. And I'm super excited because if you said the last one was a flight manual and this one's even more simple, the last one was like baseline simple, brother. So I cannot wait to get like even simpler. It's KISS, right? Keep it simple, superstar. And so, it's, anyways, I'll shut up because I would want you to go back to the beginning. Where did this all come from? Please. What was the origins and talk to us about choice?
Okay. Well, first I'll say that on the second edition that you're looking at now, the thing that one of the things I learned over time was that you guys know is that stories are important. And so this new edition has a reference story for every chapter. Like the first starts with Aristotle and talks about choice and how Aristotle's thinking fit into NASA for landing on the moon, with the go, no go kind of stuff. Second chapter talks about Shakespeare and the use of language and how we don't use the word choice. It's not in our language. We skip over it because everything's a choice. We are born choice-making machines and breathing machines. I mean, in fact, if I were to I'm not even a doctor on TV, but I'll tell you, it seems to me that you're not breathing before you're born, but you're making choices before you're born. And so when you're born, you get slapped and now you're breathing, and breathing's automatic, and choice is overall automatic, but we can slow it down to the point where we can start to recognize it. But here's the challenge that we've all had, humanity's had in general, is that we overlook this word choice. We take it for granted. It's so seamless in what we do. And so in our language, we don't use the word that often. We talk about take massive positive action, but that's choice. Or not take massive, procrastinate. All those things are choices. So they're all downstream of just two choices. So every chapter has a short vignette, like chapter 3 talks about Mother Teresa, her just two choices. She never looked at how much she didn't have. She always looked at, oh, there's more coming. Even if she just got 1 ruble for the day, she'd say, okay, or she had none. She says, oh, there's more coming. She didn't say, oh my gosh, I'm shorthanded. And so that's how it's changed from the flight manual from the original edition, which just was the pure nuts and bolts. Here's how everything works, including vibrational stuff. Now, I'd hang on to that one, the other one, for the vibrational stuff, because it has all the details, but this one has a compressed version of it. So going into the story, the background to it, like you guys, I've always been interested in, now I can say it, but you didn't know it in high school. I was always interested in kind of personal development. And I was one of those kids that used to sit back in the bleachers and watch, and I mean this with total respect for everybody that's National Honor Society and high grades and all that stuff. But I'd sit back and I'd wonder, like, what do they know that I don't know? Say, why are they always the ones that are always going across the stage? Not out of jealousy. I'll say that again, not out of jealousy, just purely out of, there's something here that I don't know. And so I want to try to figure it out. So the blessing is that, fast forward, my guidance counselor told me I'd never get into flight school. So, and my background, for those who are first listening, is as a pilot, military pilot, flying F-16s, then flying for major airlines. And so it's one of those things where she told me I would never be a pilot. Well, she was right in some ways, but the rest of the sentence was, you're not going to be a pilot the first time you try, because I did it on the 3rd try. I made it in on the 3rd try. And so after I made it through flight school, I was going like, man, I must be doing something here it's working, like it's coming together. How do I explain that to myself? And then a formula came to mind called dreams plus action equals reality, which I ended up working a lot with kids. Dreams plus action equals reality. But I found over time, when I kept talking to the kids, I kept saying, hey, look, there are just 2 choices of action. One's going to take you closer to what you want. The other one's going to take you further away from what you want. They're just 2 choices. And so thank you,
that you taught me that almost, I'm going to say probably 11 years ago, because we met 12 years ago. And just as before you got on, I was sharing with DJ. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember this conversation, Rico, and this is very pertinent to everyone watching, listening. Choice by choice, we get closer to or further from our goals.
Right. Absolutely.
And I was having a conversation with you, and I said, Rico, I don't understand. Like, every couple of months, I find myself back here. And I remember for the first time in our relationship, your voice changed, and you went, Dan, why do you think making the same choice over and over again is going to get you different results? He goes, and you said vividly, we have this conversation every 3 months.
Did I say that?
and I stopped and I went, holy shit, you're right. And you're like, just, what you need to do, just make different choices and let's go. And you were it was to the point where inside I'm like, he's pissed. And I'd never heard that voice come out of you, but I understood it right away. And that's when that went on my desk on every single computer for the last 11 years. That's been right in front of my eyes.
You're very kind. You're very kind. You know what? I'm sorry if it came across that way, because that's usually not my nature.
No, but you know what, Rico? Here's the thing. Sometimes sometimes people respond to think like, and it was at that point in time where I guess at that point in time, mentally, it said he needs to hear this in a different tone. And I remember it vividly. I like vividly, like I get goosebumps every time I think about it. But it was a tipping point, right? Like it was that
Yes.
teeter totter flipped the other way, and I went, wow. And if we go back to that day and the results after that, I 700x'd my results from the first 17 years of my career.
Wow.
So in the last 10, I 700 times any results I had in the first 17. And it was that conversation, and then the conversation with Lynn that you and I went through, that you introduced me to, from a vibrational connection point, and those two instantly. And it can happen that fast.
Well, and see, that's the whole point, is when we become aware of choice, which is the purpose of Just Two Choices. I mean, my goal is to reach 0.1% of the population. And now what I mean by that is there's a spiritual number that says when anybody reaches 0.1% of the population, all of a sudden everybody gets it. You can call it viral. But 0.1% of 8 billion people is only 8 million people being aware of choice. And you can have this flash insight where everybody goes, oh my gosh, I can choose to be happy or sad. Happiness doesn't depend on my owning anything or how somebody treats me. I can be successful or not. It's all based on the choice I make. And the only time you can make the choice, as you guys well know, is right here, right now, in this moment. You can't make one a second from now. You can't make it into the past. All you can do is make the choice now. And so it's kind of cool to a degree, I think, because when you look at it, you go, oh, there's always another choice coming. So even if you say you're going to have the hot fudge sundae, you go, all right, I'll eat half the hot fudge sundae. I'm not going to eat the whole thing.
What kind of choice is that?
I agree, though, and that's the part, Rico, so in Dan's training in Inception was obviously the first time I had seen you, and then it was when we had you live on the 8-hour show. And yeah, to Dan's point, you really have touched him so much that it's changed my life, and that part of it, what you just said there is really what changed my life, because even if I screw up and I take this choice that's wrong, I don't have to get frustrated, because the next choice, just make the right one.
Yeah.
And it was simply that was like, oh my goodness, okay, slow down.
And here's the next level to that.
Make the right damn choice.
It's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's just a choice that's getting you further away. Right. And then so you're going to flip that choice, and your next one's going to go further up. That was the biggest thing when I understood this.
It was amazing.
And so, you're making a new and better choice. And then circling back to things, what happened with, as I worked that with kids, and I got the idea for the Just Two Choices. But the thing that really stood out in my mind is, in aviation, a picture's worth 1,000 words. There's nothing but, I can just show, hopefully this would show up. But this is what the cockpit looks like. It's just colors, and so, but it's all just two choices, colors and numbers. And I got to thinking, how can I simplify this idea so that, when, as you guys know from infographics, visuals teach 60,000 times faster than words. So, and exactly what guys were just talking about, if I can get it like right now, I just happen to have this. Why do I got to read a 600-page book when I can just make the choice, make the choice right now, and I can carry it in my head. And so those two things combined are what brought around, the idea for the, let's see where I got it here, for the Just Two Choices diagram by itself. Let's see where it is here.
If you go to your right a little bit, up a bit, there we go.
There it is.
So there's your positive choice, and then go up a bit.
Up.
Yeah, up. Keep going. There we go, right there.
Yeah. There's your other choice.
It's really that simple.
And that's what I'd like to plan it to get. You just go, dude, just two choices. I mean, I say it to myself all the time. It's one of those things. I got 3 statements, and the first one, I guarantee, if you're trying to change your life, if you just say, I choose to, for everything you do for the next 5 minutes, you'll be so tired of saying, I choose to, it'll pop into your world. I choose to look to my left. I choose to raise my hand. I choose to take a drink of water. I choose to put on, this blue shirt. I choose to, after you say that for 5 minutes, okay, I get it. And so when I go to do something goofy, I go, I choose to. And I go, do I really want to choose to do this? And then sometimes it gets really sticky. I'll say, well, I choose to tell my new story. Build that new story in there. I finish the sentence with my new story about finances, my new story about, about health or whatever it is. And the last one is I just get right to it and I go, dude, just two choices. And I just start to laugh laugh with myself and going, there's a new and better choice. Why are you looking at taking the choice that's going to take you further away from what you want? And so that's how it kind of all rolled into one. And I do have a little bit of a background in art. Before I was going to flight school, I was actually accepted to art school, and I was going to go into graphic design. And then at the last minute, the Air Force made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I said, I can always go back to art. I can't jump into flying, later on. And so it kind of came out that way. And I just like to also add again, is, choices, if you can think of it as like breathing, you can't stop making, you're never stopping making choices, and you're not going to stop breathing by consciously. I mean, you can try, just like you can try to stop making choices, but that's a choice too. So you're never going to escape it.
Yeah. You transition this into our sales life, into our careers.
Yeah.
You can choose to do everything you can to get better. You can choose to invest in yourself. You can choose not to. You can choose to make those sales calls at that time. You can choose to block out hours. You can choose to fill up your agenda with your mandatory things instead of other people's false emergencies. You can just, and again, everything goes back to choice. It's the starting and ending point of all great achievements. And like Napoleon Hill, greatest philosopher that ever walked the face of the earth, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, if you're 3 feet from gold, you have to choose to make that next step.
Can I add to that a thought here?
Oh, you sure can.
Okay. Yes. Well, first I'll say hi to Maggie and Lisa. So thank you so much for your comments there, Maggie and Lisa. And
so let's just DJ reminds me every day when I struggle with decisions, I have a coin to carry if he's not there with me. Thank you.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Oh, great.
You can always make a better choice, another choice, Lisa says, for sure.
I looked it up. I looked it up on the internet. The average adult, according to a bunch of different sites, but we'll just say Inc.com is where I took it from. The average adult makes 35,000 choices every single day. So we're bound to.
So imagine how many you would add up after 5 minutes. Like just that alone would be a task in its own. Right. Like I've often said to people, you want to get really good at your pitch. Like if you write a pitch out or something, read it 100 times, nonstop, 100 times. And I'll tell you, after about the 5th time you're reading it, it's like, is that coffee maker on? I could really use another coffee. Like, oh, hold on, I'm reading this, and it's true. Like, so imagine just 5 minutes of saying, okay, I choose to say another word. I'm going to choose to do this. I'm going to choose to move my head like this. I'm going to choose. Yeah.
Right.
Well, so the things I'd like to add to that, Dan and DJ, is that we have Napoleon Hill, Norman Vincent Peale, and Dale Carnegie. To me, they're the holy trinity of this movement that's gone on since when I read about it. It's like started in the 1930s, like 1932ish. They had their own radio shows and stuff like that, and so they started this whole movement. And the movement that they started was, and I say this with the utmost respect, they started the Take Positive Action movement. And actually, Norman Vincent Peale was actually his business partner, who was like a psychologist or psychiatrist in New York.
That makes sense.
That we're not working together anymore because, this idea of the power of positive thinking, man, you're going to mess people's heads up, letting them think about positive things without going to professional counseling. People were upset in the early 50s when that book came out, from what I read. Mm-hmm. And so, however, that was the bridge to where we are today. The bridge to where we are today was take positive action. People could eventually, it took a while, but people wrapped their minds around being able to take positive action. I think the next thing coming, I think it's here already. It started 10 years ago, is just because of everything we have on our phones is the next level is knowing that everything's a choice, not just take massive positive action, because take massive positive action is a choice, but knowing that you want a career in aviation, just touch your phone. You want a career in sales, and if you don't choose to touch the buttons on your phone and to explore what's on your phone that's in your hands, then
nobody can help you.
Yeah, yeah. And
DJ and I were having a call with a gentleman. Was it last week, DJ? So Hayden, if you're watching,
Oh yeah,
amen, brother. We were talking to Hayden, and we were on a demo of his product, and we got into the education piece.
Yeah.
And he said something that I went, whoa. He says, I wouldn't be surprised within a decade or two if like YouTube takes over colleges and university, because we were talking about what can you learn, and I learned how to weld from YouTube. I built an entire sled deck, put 1,500 pounds of sleds on it, and rode it and drove the truck with the sleds on it, 18, 19 hours this winter total. Not a single thing broke, nothing happened. And all I did was went out and bought steel. I watched a bunch of YouTube's videos. I got a welder, and I fabricated something that would normally cost $8,000. And it's like what we can learn on these channels. You can learn digital marketing, you can learn sales, you can learn psychology, you can learn writing, you can
I've seen stories of people building a house. They've never even worked with tools, but they just watched a YouTube video and built a house.
But
my buddy was building a house, and he like did his own, and I mean, I know some people are gonna be like, not a chance, but he did his own wiring, put in his own panels and everything from YouTube. And I remember visiting him as he was building it, and he's sitting in his thing, and he's got this, like the first thing he did was mount a TV and get internet so he can watch YouTube and build this stuff, like put in a fireplace and everything to code. And he's just done it on his own because he's making the choice.
Yeah.
And for us on the show, even DJ, like we make a choice every day to come out with high energy, every day to come out with new stuff. And we were just talking about this before. We've gone from literally, and this, like, big shout out to you, DJ, and the show, and all of you that watch and listen. We officially surpassed over 500 downloads in a single week.
Wow.
We were, struggling right around that 400, and we just catapulted. And from the time from 6 months ago, we've over 10x'd our weekly downloads. So, I mean, we're touching over 2,000 people a month now. Just with the show, and that's just downloads. That's not people watching live. That's not people, watching this on LinkedIn afterwards. We've got, and this is all because of a choice. Because we sat back and said, we're going to choose to make this show as awesome as possible every day. We're going to choose to come with energy. We're going to choose to bring people like you, Rico, on the show that share these unbelievable, like mind-blowing concepts that can change people's lives, because we want people to wake up with us and say, you know what, shit, I need a good start to my day. I remember, Rico, when you taught me the energy meter and the vibration meter. And if you're redlining at the beginning of the day, and as you go through the day, people chip at it, and you're like, nah, we're going to redline. And that's all a choice, right? It's all a choice.
The choice is always ours.
You guys, when you're talking about YouTube and going back to, we're now in the, for me, my wording is call it the choice industry. We're in a choice industry now, because it's right there in front of you.
Yes.
But really what it comes down to is there's so many old adages that just are so appropriate, like a picture's worth 1,000 words. The other one is, speaking of what you guys just described with regard to education, you can lead a horse to water.
You
can't make it drink.
So you can put all those videos on YouTube, and, it's one of those things where if you don't choose to watch it, you don't choose to follow through with it, it doesn't happen. I was thinking about this this morning, actually. I was thinking, if I were to teach a class, say going back to high school kind of thing, the class would have three things. First, I teach them about just two choices and choice.
Yes.
The second thing is I teach about goal setting, setting goals. The third thing I teach, and I'm learning this as a non-salesperson, would be sales/speaking, because everything is sales. A baby crying that it needs its diaper changed, it's sales.
They're selling you on changing that diaper, or else I'm going to keep crying.
I want it now. Yes.
A baby hungry, who knows how to breathe already automatically,
Oh yeah.
makes the choice at a level that says, I got to get my old man's attention. I'm hungry. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's choice. And so those are the three things that would be part of the curriculum so that people could change their mindset. I mean, you guys talk about this all the time, but it's, the light for me coming out of aviation is it's all sales. Everything in life is sales. But so if you could teach it as influence, as you talk about um, ethical influence, from a point of view like that, I think that would equip any human being to, instead of lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, they would choose to say, yeah, I'm going to watch YouTube, or yeah, I'm going to touch this on the phone and check this out, make that choice to better my life if they had that kind of a background,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the
And you can
fundamental.
choose to look
Well,
at everything in life as a sale and a commission.
Yeah.
Right.
Grant
And
Cardone.
I got
Grant
this from
Cardone.
Grant
Sell or be
Cardone in
sold.
10X. Or yeah, sell or be sold.
Sell or be sold.
It wasn't 10X. Well, he mentions it in 10X, but
He
the
does.
concept was sell or be sold. And he says, even my wife, like me making the choice to court my wife and selling my wife, I've now got a commission. She's my wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can literally place everything in those terms.
Yes.
It's
training
not just the
dogs.
exchange of money for goods or service.
No,
Everything there.
no.
There's a sale always being
Commission
made.
is happiness. Commission is thank you. Commission is recognition.
Right on.
Commission is honoring. Commission is everything.
Respect.
Everything.
It's
Respect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Commission from, I could say when I read that, the first time I read Sell or Be Sold was right around the time my son was graduating.
Yeah.
And it was like, you watch your son walk down the aisle with honors coming out of high school. And it's like, that's a commission for the years of do your homework first, like school first before play. You can go to hockey, but if your grades fall, you're not playing sports. And like all these rules that we chose to implement, and some not so good, some great.
Yeah.
That's the commission, watching your children grow up and like just watching them, even from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, whoa, that was pretty, my son last week, we had a freak snowstorm.
Yeah.
My son last week, he was driving home and I see him pull in, he goes into the garage and leaves. I'm like, what's going on? So he comes back. I go, you okay? Everything good? He goes, yeah. He goes, around the corner, there was a lady, an elderly lady trying to shovel the driveway and it was wet snow. He goes, so he went back and shoveled her driveway for her because he was like, she was 80. And that right there is a commission as a parent.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, wow. Like, and he's always done that. Like he's seen construction workers gone to the store, bought Gatorades, brought them back. A guy was stuck with a lawnmower, helped him push it out. But all of that, I mean, it's a commission for him too, because he feels good, but that commission goes all the way down the line. As a parent, you're like, holy crap, that's a huge commission because you gave, you instilled or you shared
my
or
kids say I love you all the time and hug at 2 and 5 that's the huge commission ever. It's like, yes, because my, growing up, my family was not that way. We weren't big, at least my parents weren't big huggers. We weren't big, I love you, weren't big. And so like to see my kids just every day, just saying it by themselves, just is like, yes.
Suck that up, brother, because it doesn't last long.
I know.
And you know that, DJ, because you have older ones. When they hit that teens, it's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess that means you're okay. Lisa says, thank you guys for making the choices to show up daily. Isn't that cool? Then Nigel, you are here, my brother. There we go. Rico and the best salespeople are simply giving clients choices, suggesting opportunities and possibilities.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way down the line, right?
Yeah. That's a good. I like the positive. I like the positive way that's put. Nigel. Suggesting opportunities and possibilities. It's. And I know you're not coming from this space. It's just that other people would use choice as a way of criticizing, or diminishing something, as opposed to expanding. Vibrationally expanding the possibilities. So.
Well, I think that's the thing that makes the difference between the word sale or selling and convincing or influencing. I think is there's just that subtle difference that makes all to me makes all the difference. If you're convincing or trying to persuade somebody to do something that is not giving them opportunities or opening, like you're saying,
Well said.
uh,
Yeah.
and you're just influencing them to, hey, this, after listening to you, this sounds like the best fit. Again, I go back to Hitch every day, but he, in that movie Hitch with Will Smith, it's so amazing. Will Smith and Kevin James, he says, I'm not, the lady at the end says, you trick women. He says, no, I just help them get out of their way to make the decision that's best for them. That's
Mm-hmm.
all we really are trying to do as true
Mm-hmm.
sales professionals,
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
just, we are listening to the pain that you're saying, and we're trying to give you the best solution for it. And we think that we believe what we have is best for you.
100%. And there's obviously the flip side of all of it, right? There's salespeople out there that are making the choice to be in it for them, and they'll, quote unquote,
Which
sell ice to an Eskimo while he's standing on a glacier.
Yep.
And you know,
Yeah.
Eskimos don't eat ice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you sell that to them? And I think that's the bad side of the choice that they've made, to say, okay, I'm going to come into this career and learn everything I can to trick people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we, as professional sales reps, unfortunately have to deal with that, and a lot of the time 8 mile the shit out of that and just get it,
That's right.
straight and arrow, and this is what it is. But
This is
that's a choice we make, right? So like Rico said, when he said, take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The choices we make determine the results we get.
And I'll add to it. You notice the difference between the words DJ you were using. Um, there's a vibrational difference, and
Mm.
and it's the vibe that people respond to, and so the higher the vibe, the more embracing the majority of people are to,
yes.
or more receptive they are to exchange information.
Mhm.
Because if we think of the vibe when we talk and we do things as a spiral, like your show is a spiral that goes up and expands. So from the first time it starts and it keeps expanding throughout the entire show. And so by the end of the show, everybody's high vibe, but that's where the thoughts come from. The thoughts of possibilities and opportunities, like Nigel was saying, come from up here. They
Yes.
don't come from down here in anger or frustration. And that's why it hurts. It's so painful to be down here. It's a tight space to be in. But we have to remember that, include myself included in all of this, is that frustration, overwhelm, tight space. I choose to be frustrated. I choose to be overwhelmed. I know there's another choice. So I need to choose to tell a new story to get myself to be moving up and through that expansive
Mhm.
state.
Oh, I
Because
love that.
if not, I'm same old, or deeper, worse yet.
So Rico, the vibration that you're talking about, could
Yeah.
that be referred to as passion,
Yeah.
or high
Yeah.
vibe? Because as you become more passionate about something, you energize people with your passion,
Yeah.
right? Like passion, for lack of a better term, in a very ethical way, passion sells.
And I would say, the other word too, in addition to passion, I think would be energized in and of itself. Um,
Mm.
uh, uh, Energizing being for me, a much more broad, um, perspective than just passion alone. With the energizing, of course, you can energize and infuse, energize with passion. So all of
Mm.
those kinds of words are the ones that take you to the next level.
Yeah. Lisa
Yes.
says, being truly consultative.
Yeah.
Yes. Nigel says, what did you think of Six Nations, Rico? Did you manage to watch?
My apologies. I did not. I will make a note of it, Nigel. Thank
And then Jeff says, good morning,
you.
Jeff. Good to see you here, buddy. Hope we had a
Really
great
good.
show. We're having a fantastic show, brother. Go do what you got to do, my man. I know you got a
Yes.
lot going
See you, Jeff.
on.
Thank you.
So, Rico, we decided, DJ and I
Yeah.
backstage decided we'd do something a little different today. So normally at the end of the show, DJ, the quote king, comes up with a quote. So we figured what we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays is let our guests come up with a quote to end the show, and kind of like a
Great idea.
spontaneous one where you didn't have
Yes.
time to plan for it. But if you were to think of a quote that just sets your mood, sets your perspective, sets your choice on a different level, what would it be?
Mm.
Always choose new and better.
Oh, good one.
Oh, I
Good
love
one.
that.
Love that.
Always choose the new and better.
Always choose new
Love
and
that.
better. I do love
And
that.
so we have a new video for all y'all watching. For those that are listening on the podcast later, we will have a voiceover for this video in the next day or so. I'm just putting the final editing touches on it. But wanted to share our sponsor, American and Centurion Trucking, American Logistics and Centurion Trucking. Check it out. They did good, eh? That's really good.
I love it.
The Gail
Oh,
over at
love it.
Centurion did a great job with that video, and we'll have louder music and everything. I just kind of wanted to share that with everybody because that was super
Very
cool
nice.
of them.
Yeah, so thank
Do
you,
it,
Daman.
absolutely.
Thank you, Centurion Trucking. Thank you, American Logistics.
Yeah, thank you everybody for watching. We will see you tomorrow, Rico.
Thank you,
brother.
Thanks everybody to stop by. Appreciate hearing from you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Rico.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversation.